What won't you do for freedom? You can see on the screen footage from one of the major rallies in London in April 2021, where thousands and thousands of people took to the streets to march through the capital city of Great Britain to send a loud and clear message that we will not stand for the authoritarian, dystopian and tyrannical measures that were imposed during COVID-19. I don't know exactly what I'm going to say in this video, but I'm going to follow my heart, because at this moment in history, we are dealing with the aftermath of a period in history where we faced the single most greatest violation of our individual and collective liberties that we have seen in modern history. And in that aftermath, there is a trend, there is a trajectory where our freedoms continue to be curtailed and suppressed, whether that's the erosion of our ability to speak freely online, the gross censorship that has emerged, the censorship industrial complex, whether that's the continued attack on our ability to raise our voices and to protest in the streets, or whether it's the cultural shifts that are tearing at the base or the fabric of our society, that keep us divided and polarized, keep us at war with one another, turning a blind eye to the injustices and corruption that we see every day in the world. In the aftermath of COVID-19, we face very specific challenges. Right now, the World Health Organization and its members are negotiating on a pandemic treaty which threatens to normalize what we saw during COVID-19, but not only normalize what we saw, but legitimize and even legalize the things that you and I marched in the streets together to stand against. Now, if you want to live in a free world and you want to ensure that this tyranny does not happen again, then you must understand that the work must continue and that there is work now that must be done. It's easy in good times to rest. And in these moments, we're in relative freedom compared to what we endured during the course of the pandemic. But be aware that at the flick of a switch, any of those instruments, any of those mechanisms, whether it be lockdowns, whether it be test and trace, whether it be mandatory vaccinations or vaccine passports, could once again be imposed under the guise of a public health emergency. And in fact, the new documents that are being proposed by the World Health Organization will make it much easier for the organization itself, the World Health Organization, to declare such an emergency, even where there is little threat to human life. We cannot live in a world where these things become normalized, and we cannot live in a world where these things become legitimized. Therefore, it's our imperative right now to once again come together, as we did throughout the height of COVID, and take a stand against these authoritarian measures. It's time for us to proclaim our freedom and to reclaim our humanity, to offer a different path ahead, a world where we are not dominated at the whims of the pharmaceutical or corporate industries, and instead come back to our human values, our human heart, to come back to nature and to carve a new path ahead. It's time to break free from the authoritarian overreach that is becoming normalized during this time. We need vast, sweeping change. And many of us played a part in creating that change during the COVID chapter. People say the protests, they didn't make a difference. Well, you tell me, when you see this video alongside me, that that did not make a difference. We shifted the culture during that time. We created a counter-culture movement during that time, but it's just the beginning. And I remember when there was just 20, 30 of us at the rallies, and to join in those rallies when there were tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and some even say millions of people. You cannot say that we didn't make a change. We made a difference. And those people who marched will carry in their hearts something that they will never, ever forget. They were there. They had the courage. You had the courage to take a stand when it mattered most. Well, it's time once again to take a stand. This June, we are traveling to Geneva. We are going to a rally outside the United Nations. The United Nations which came together to bring about a period of peace in the face of war. Well, now many people have declared that the pandemic was a wartime and that we needed a war footing throughout this. Even Boris Johnson played the role of a Churchill, or tried to, attempted in his own befuddled way. The reality is the war itself was a war waged on humanity. And we must now bring about peace, and it's down to the citizens to do so. And I mean peace in every single way. I want to live in a world where the principles of freedom and peace and human rights are respected. And it's clear that the leaders that represent humanity right now do not represent the interests of the people and of the planet. And if we want to create change, it's in our hands to do so. So the invitation is to come and join us outside the United Nations in front of that iconic building to send a message that those institutions that are supposed to represent the interests of the people and the planet are no longer fit for purpose, and that we need new thinking about the future that we want to create. Now, if we want to be in charge of our own destiny, then we have to be the ones that take action. We cannot defer action to individuals or individual leaders. And it's easy to take comfort when you can see individuals standing up and doing things in the name of freedom, of peace and justice. But we cannot allow it to be rested on individual shoulders. We must share that burden. We must march together once again. So join us in Geneva. Join us at theroadtogeneva.com to say no to the WHO, to say no to centralized authority, to say yes to your freedom, say yes to your health, and say yes to your future. What won't you do for your freedom? You marched during COVID. The time has come again to march once more. Your heart is still beating. We must make freedom reign once more. I'll see you in Geneva. Head over to roadtogeneva.com. Find out about what we're doing. Join the convoy. We don't care how you get there. Fly, take a train, take a boat, cycle, walk. It doesn't matter. Or join the convoy. Come and join us in Geneva and say once again that you were there when it mattered. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Astin-Gregory. This is Free Humanity.
Say no to the WHO. You're invited to join us on the Road to Geneva, our exciting new campaign to resist the World Health Organization. The Road to Geneva campaign will culminate in a pan-European convoy that's going to converge outside the city of Geneva on Friday, the 31st of May, ahead of a peaceful rally outside the United Nations building on Saturday, the 1st of June. If you want to join us, head over to roadtogeneva.com and you'll find about the latest convoy plans, how to get involved, and details of the wider campaign to challenge the WHO. I hope we'll see you on the road to Geneva.